Let's go to page 310, number 1. In number 1, you have 2 points. You got point P at 3, comma 2, and Q at 5, negative 4. And so it says, let P be the vector drawn from the origin to the first point. Okay, so the first point P is 3, 2. So that's a point P. So you want to go from origin to that. So this is your vector P. Okay, so that's the first part. Again, in the book they use the boldface type letter, but when you write, it's kind of hard to tell if it's bold type or not. So I'm going to put an arrow on top. Okay, so indicate that this is the vector P. So that's the first part, and then you want to draw, again, you read through and make sure you do every part. So that's a vector P, and then next you have to draw the vector Q. So it'd be 5, negative 4. So this is point Q. So point P is 3, 2. Point Q is 5, negative 4. And when you draw the arrow, make sure you do not go over the dot. Okay? And so this is vector Q. The next part, you want to find in component form of vector P. So whatever you see is your component form. So over here, you're going to get the vector P is equal to 3i plus 2j. Okay, so that next part. And you also need to find a component form in vector Q. So Q equal to 5i minus 4j, right? 5i minus 4j. So that's the vector Q in component form. Again, go to each part. And next, you're looking for the vector PQ. So you're looking for vector PQ. Notice the order. It says from point P to Q, right? So all you have to do is do this over here. So that's vector PQ. Right? Again, go from P to Q. That's vector PQ. And you're looking for the component, right? So to find a component, use the end minus the beginning. So this minus side will give me 2i. Right? I can use the end minus beginning. And negative 4 minus 2 will give you negative 6j. Okay? So that's how you find, again, vector PQ is from point P to Q, point Q. And then to find the component form or the length of each direction, just subtract. That takes care of that. Okay, next you need to look for vector P plus Q in the component form. So again, in the book you use a bold type, but it's kind of hard to tell, so I'm going to just put an arrow on top. Okay, so vector P plus vector Q will equal to, you just add. Okay, so P plus Q, so you just add. So P plus Q, you're going to get 8i. P plus Q going minus 2j. Right? Again, vector P plus vector Q, just add. That's what you have to do. And then next, you need to look for vector P minus vector Q. Again, to subtract, so P minus Q, you just subtract. So you're going to get 3 minus 5. So you're going to get negative 2i. And then you use the j. So 2 minus negative 4 give you 6, so plus 6j. So that takes care of that. And you're looking for the length or the magnitude of P. Okay? So to look for the length of magnitude or the length, so that means absolute value. So you use Pythagorean theorem, right? So if you look over here, that's a 3, 2, right? So it'd be square root of 3 squared plus 2 squared. So this will equal to square root of 9 plus 4. And so the length equal to square root of 13. Okay. And again, double check. Make sure you do all that. Okay, and you want to draw all the vectors. So P plus Q, to draw P plus Q, you just go P and you continue with the Q. So what you do is you slide this over. And to draw P plus Q, okay, I'm going to use a different graph so it's not as confusing. Okay. So you need to draw the P plus Q. So this is the vector P, and to Q, right? You want to slide the Q over. So Q is 5, -4, right? Q is 5, -4. So from here, you go 5, and you go -4. So that's the Q. Remember, vector you're allowed to slide, right? So basically, I slide from here to here, right? Because you want to add, so you have to continue on. So that's the vector P, and plus means continue on. So P plus Q, so you end up right over here. And so that's the P plus Q. Okay. And if you count the coordinate, P plus Q is going to be 8 minus 2, right? If you do this on a graph paper, it's going to be 8 minus 2. They have to all match. Okay. And then if you do the P minus Q, right? Minus Q means negative. Okay. So if you look over here, so Q is 5i minus 4j, right? So negative Q is equal to -5i plus 4j. So if you're doing the minus Q, you have to add the negative Q. Okay, so on this one, you have to go opposite direction. So you have to go, so you go P, and then go negative Q, so you have to go -5, so you have to go -5, 4. Okay. Again, if you do this on a graph paper, it's much easier to do. So that's the negative Q, right? Just opposite direction, right? And therefore, on this one here, this would be the vector P minus Q. Again, if you look at the coordinate, this is going to be equal to -2. So this is equal to -2i plus 6j, right? See over here? So they have to match, right? See, -2i plus 6j, -2i plus 6j. Okay. So again, P minus Q means P plus -Q. So this is, you have to use the P plus -Q. Right? This is Q. So -Q is opposite, you flip it over. Right? So P plus -Q, that's that. Okay, so that's how you do the vector additions. And it said draw all the vectors, so check, make sure we got all the vectors, right? We got vector P, vector Q, vector PQ, and then we have the vector P plus Q, we got vector P minus Q.